Welcome to Mint. I'm Malia Politzer. Today I have with me Mr. Kunal Kundu of Robini Global Economics. Welcome to the show, Mr. Kundu.
Thank you.
We're here to discuss the fiscal consolidation plan unveiled by Finance Minister P. Chidambaram on Monday. Mr. Kundu, can you tell me about the fiscal consolidation plan? Do you think that it's credible?
Well, if you ask me, I do really have my doubts as to how we are going to take this forward. If you look at the plans, there are two aspects to it. One is where is the revenue coming from, and how is the expenditure contraction going to happen. My questions are with the revenue first to begin with. One is he again talks about rupees 30,000 crores worth of disinvestment and 40,000 crore worth of 2G spectrum auction. So again, the focus is more on those one-time revenues. Am I confident this will be met? I doubt. We are already past 6 months in this financial year. We are into the 7th month. We hardly saw any movement with regard to disinvestment. Even with regard to 2G spectrum auction, we are hearing a lot of noise, but nothing concrete is still visible at this point in time. Then there are issues of how the equity market is going to pan out. We are moving continuously from risk on to risk of assets. So next 6 months, can we meet those targets? I doubt. Even assuming what he's saying is correct, and we actually end up meeting those targets of getting those 70,000 crores out of that, there are other revenue considerations as well. And that is in terms of GDP growth, estimation that has gone into his calculation. We do not know the numbers. If we look at the, what the government believes, they are talking of around 6.5% GDP growth. I doubt. We are talking about 5.8%. Even it can be a little bit lower. It can never be above 6%. So where are the revenues going to come from? So I have serious doubt with regard to where the revenues are coming from. Next comes the expenditure contraction part of it. If you remember, when Kelkar committee report was submitted, it was summarily rejected by Chidambaram. And the reason he said is there are social sector requirements, those realities we cannot move away from, those spending has to be there. And so when he talked of time-bound reduction of subsidy, he said we cannot do that. Question now is, now he's saying he'll follow the Kelkar committee report. We need to know what he meant by that. Next year, remember, it's election year. Now, he is talking about a 5.3% fiscal deficit this year, which is to reduce by 0.5 percentage point next year. So the question is, next year being an election year, can he actually follow the mandate of Kelkar committee report and reduce subsidies? Absolutely not. I do not think it's going to happen.
Okay. Now, the RBI also released its macroeconomic report on Monday.
Right.
And a lot of it seemed to be about containing inflation.
Correct.
So do you think that they're likely to cut interest rates anytime soon?
Not tomorrow. I think as I mentioned, I really have no faith in this fiscal consolidation measure that has been unveiled today. I think the only thing about this measure is that it's been timed to a nicety, because tomorrow is the monetary policy announcement day, and they are trying to put in additional pressure on RBI. I doubt RBI will give in to that. In fact, if you ask me, RBI should not give in to that, because year after year we have heard the government talk, various governments keep on talking, but I have not seen many actually walking the talk.
And what sort of fiscal plan do you recommend that the government adopts in order to regain the confidence of the RBI?
See, if you look at it, it's a pretty long drawn affair, but tackling the subsidy issue is very important. Question is how much they can do that given the various political implications. More importantly, which is of long-term nature, is to really bring about a sort of bureaucratic reform, so that our delivery mechanism, which is an euphemism for the leakage that happens in the system, that needs to be plugged. That's very important. We actually throw a lot of money, through leakage. I mean, the amount of money that is spent on various social sector schemes hardly reach the intended beneficiaries. These are, as John Maldin keeps on saying, are unintended consequences. Others really benefit out of this expenditure, not those people. So we really throw a lot much of money than we should. So important thing is to take a very long and hard look at corruption. Ensure that the delivery mechanism is much better. To that extent, I do agree with the cash transfer scheme rather than the way the subsidy has been implemented so far. But there are pros and cons. For a country as large as India, how easily it's going to be implemented. We should ensure that while trying to go for cash, cash subsidies or the transfer scheme, the poor do not get out. They do not move out of the system. They do not get struck off from the list because they have to make sure that they are the real beneficiaries and they continue to be the real beneficiaries. And that is where I think it's not going to be very easy to do at this point in time. But yes, if you ask me, it would have to be, tackling corruption, there's no other way apart from tackling corruption and making sure that the delivery mechanism is better. Look at subsidy, try and reduce it. It's not going to happen in a day or a month, but they have to be fully, committed to those plans, so that RBI can actually move ahead and start cutting down the rates.
So it sounds like the government really has its work cut out for it.
Yes, it has. If you ask me, it definitely has its work cut out. So, as I keep on saying, RBI, it's just the intent.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
And that wraps up today's show. Please stay tuned for next time.